Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Fatin Rasha binti Ismail and I am from M3802264A, and today I will be presenting my video critique for ELC650 on the movie of River Runs Red. The synopsis of this movie is that this movie tells the story about a father that worked as a successful judge, Judge Coleman, who is never give up to defend on his son's murder case. His youngest son was killed by two police officers during routine traffic stop because he was accused for having a gun. So, Judge Coleman demanding the justice on behalf of his late son. Unfortunately, the cops are not giving their cooperation to solve the investigation. Grieving and in despair, Judge Coleman switched his cover for a gun. He is dishing out revenge and not justice. He knows the system won't provide the closure he wants, and finally, taking the law into his own hands by killing the police who are responsible for the death of his sons. Characters that involved in this movie are Mr. Charles Coleman, who works as a judge, Rory and Vaughn, who is the police officer, the Mayor Johnson, who is the police chief.
Being as this is a public entity, I'm bound by my open meeting laws. Be open.
The critical incident number 1 that shows up right here shows us the integrity. The description of this scene is at first, the appointment meeting between Mayor and Judge Coleman is a private meeting, but Mayor, the police chief officer, says to the Judge Coleman, being as this is a public entity, I am bound by my open meeting law. So be open. The analysis of this scene is that integrity is the practice of being honest and showing a consistent and uncompromising adherence to strong moral and ethical codes and values. Ethical codes will help to reassure stakeholders about the entity's integrity and its commitment to ethics. In this situation, Mayor, the police chief officer, handling an open meeting not just with Judge Coleman, but also with the police chief deputies and Department of Justice per se, which in this scene shows his integrity in the workplace. The effect of this incident is the Mayor has the confidence to not only make a private meeting with Judge Coleman, he is behaving with integrity and showing strong commitment to ethical codes as a police chief officer. Next, the recommendation from this incident as an employee in public sector, the integrity is one of the fundamental values that employers seek for. It is the hallmark of a person who demonstrates sound moral and ethical principles at work. It is the foundation on which co-workers build relationship, trust, and effective interpersonal relationship. This integrity is required for achieving good governance.
Course that will make things right. But in my power, I can offer you that.
The critical incident number 2 that shows just now show to us the corruption in police officers. The description in this scene is that Mayor offered the money to the Judge Coleman, who is meeting him to demand for justice on his late son. Mayor says to Judge Coleman, in my power, I can offer you that. The analysis of these scenes is that corruption in police is a form of police misconduct in which law enforcement officers end up breaking their political contract and abuse their power for personal gain. In this situation, shows the Mayor utilized his power as a police chief officer to offer money to the Judge Coleman for him to close the case easily. The effect for this scene is that Mayor just involved in the act of misuse of the authority he has for the personal gain because he didn't want to get a bad reputation in his organization. And Judge Coleman didn't get the justice he wants for his late son. Next, for the recommendation from this incident is that as the professional employee of the public sector, we should avoid this behavior of corruption as it will decrease the trustworthiness of the governance and will make a failure to the organization. We should provide a good and fair solution to the problem so that we'll have a win-win or a fair situation between two sides, and the right party will get the justice they deserve.
Charles. You know what we have to do? Okay.
For the critical incident number 3 shows us the dishonesty. The description for this incident is that in the scene, Mayor said to his deputy and the person of the Department of Justice, "You know what we have to do," after the Judge Coleman leaving the meeting. The analysis of this incident is that dishonesty implies the act or practice without honesty by telling a lie or deceiving or deliberately withholding information. In this case, it clearly shows that the three of them actually knowing the truth but still didn't want to tell it because they want to cover up as well as to protect his officer from being punished. The effect of this incident is that the police officers that should be responsible on the death of Coleman's son not being arrested and punished because of the corrupt mayor for using his power, making the act of knowingly giving the false testimony. This situation makes the innocent guilty and there's no justice for him. And lastly, the recommendation from this incident is that as the employee of the public sector, we should be honest in everything we do, especially in our workplace. Honesty is crucial to the performance of an officer's duties. We should just admit our mistakes and use our mistakes as an opportunity for the organization improvement. Furthermore, dishonesty is incompatible with the public trust. We have reached the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.